Part of Rob Ford's international brand is shock, but even those accustomed to his scandals, denials, and determination have been taken aback. Tonight, the latest medical update has underscored the concern over Ford's health. Politics have been thrown aside because the next steps for Ford and the race for Toronto's mayor have been thrown into question by the tumor discovered in his abdomen. Ron Charles has more for us tonight from Toronto. Ron.
Peter, so far nothing has deterred Rob Ford from his quest to remain mayor of Toronto. Not a conflict of interest finding, not a crack smoking admission, not 2 months in rehab. But Ford's latest challenge could prove his most serious and most difficult. Today, family and friends visited Rob Ford in the hospital where he was first diagnosed with an abdominal tumor.
He's doing all right. He's keeping in good spirits.
How's it for you personally, just when you were first given the news?
It's devastating. It's devastating all night.
This afternoon, doctors transferred Ford from the suburban hospital to Toronto's downtown Mount Sinai, which has a world-renowned center for digestive diseases. Tonight, the head of that center says Ford had a biopsy of the tumor and a CT scan of his chest. Doctors plan to do an MRI tomorrow.
He is resting comfortably. He has some pain. We are giving him some pain medication for that. He's surrounded by family members.
He says the results of the biopsy to determine if the tumor is cancerous won't be known for about a week. Ford's hospitalization has overshadowed Toronto's municipal election. The two main candidates fighting to unseat him as mayor won't speculate on what all of this might mean for the race.
I do not want to speculate what would happen. I just hope Mr. Ford would have a speedy recovery. He's a strong-willed person, and I wish him strength.
I want him, whatever is ailing him, to get fixed, and then I want him to be where he wants to be, because he wants to be back at these debating tables.
Tomorrow marks the deadline for candidates to remove their name from or add their name to the ballot. This municipal affairs expert says he finds it hard to imagine Rob Ford dropping out.
Unless kind of someone drags him kicking and screaming out of his office and says there's a medical situation, I would be surprised if he opts out at this point. I think he'll be there.
If Rob Ford were to remove his name from the ballot, there has been speculation for months that his brother Doug Ford would run in his place. Doug Ford has never publicly responded. Peter?
All right, Ron, thank you. Ron Charles here in Toronto. Let's try for a little more understanding on this with our medical contributor, Dr. Peter Lynn. Another week before we get a result.
I know it's frustrating, but the problem is they have to do a lot of tests on that sample that they've gotten. So they have to do different stains. They have to figure out, are there receptors on there, for example, what kind of cancer cells? And I think what they're doing is give themselves the time to make sure that they get all the information together. And it's really not for you or I, it's really for what do we do with Mayor Ford in terms of his treatment for this condition.
When you were watching this, you know, it was a tense medical update. Everybody's trying to read in between the lines. You're a doctor. What did you sense there?
Yeah, so the first thing was that his move to Mount Sinai, basically they needed a CT-guided biopsy. That's what I'm thinking. So that means that they put a needle into that. So they use the CT scanner to isolate or identify where the spot is, and then they put a needle in. And now they're getting a core sample out. Now you can understand that even if that sample is perfect, let's say it comes back, no cancer cells, because everybody said this thing is fairly large size, I don't know if this biopsy means that the whole thing is okay. So we may still have some more confusion in the future. But what they're doing is they're doing all the tests. So they CT scanned his chest, they did an ultrasound, they're going to be doing an MRI, which is a different way to look at things without x-rays. And that way they'll have all the information together. Is this thing attached to anything? What is the surgery options? What are the cancer options? So they'll get all the people together, cancer experts, surgeons, radiation oncologists, and that's what the big team is going to be meeting about once they get all this information.
Covering all the possible bases.
Exactly.
All right, Dr. Lynn, thanks very much.